In a city that never seemed to run out of darkness, there was one man who never ran out of light. His name was Ezra, and he was a lantern maker. Not the ordinary kind, not the kind who simply fills a mold and sells what comes out. Ezra made lanterns the way some people write letters, carefully, personally, with the specific person in mind. A lantern for a sailor's widow who could not sleep without something burning in the window. A lantern for a child who woke screaming every night and needed to see that the world was still there. A lantern for an old man who had lost his sight and simply wanted to feel warmth on his hands one more time. People came to Ezra from every corner of the city, from distant towns, from places he had never heard of, because somehow word had spread that Ezra's lanterns were different, that they did not just give light, they gave something else, something nobody could quite name, but everybody could feel.
Every evening, when the last customer had gone and the shop was locked, Ezra packed away his tools and walked home. Through the dark streets of the city, past the houses where his lanterns burned in windows, past the doorways where his lanterns hung, past the alleys where his lanterns guided people safely through the night. With no lantern of his own. People had asked him about this many times. His apprentice, his neighbors, a journalist who once wrote a small piece about the famous lantern maker of the city. Why do you not carry one of your own lanterns? I make them for others, he always said. That is what they are for. And he believed this completely, without question. What Ezra did not know, what he had never allowed himself to examine too closely, was that walking home in the dark had become something else entirely. It had become a punishment. Because somewhere deep inside, Ezra did not believe he deserved the light he gave to everyone else.
7 years before the night everything changed, a woman had come to Ezra's shop. Her name was Kala, and she had just buried her husband. She did not speak when she came in. She simply stood at the counter and looked at him with the expression of someone who had forgotten what they needed, but remembered they needed something. Ezra did not ask her what she wanted. He looked at her for a long time. Then he went to his workbench. He worked for 3 hours that evening after closing time. His apprentice went home. The city went quiet. Ezra worked. The lantern he made for Kala was unlike anything he had made before. It burned with a particular quality of warmth, not bright, not harsh, but steady. The kind of light that says, I am here. I am not going anywhere. You are not alone. He gave it to her the next morning. He charged her nothing. She held it with both hands and left without a word. Ezra forgot about her within a week. There were always more lanterns to make, always more darkness waiting. He did not know what that lantern had done for Kala. He did not know that on 3 separate nights in the months that followed, that lantern had been the only reason she was still alive. And he did not know that 7 years later, on a cold November night, he would need her. It happened on a Tuesday. Ezra was walking home the way he always walked home, through the dark streets, past the burning lanterns, past the gilded alleys, alone and unlit.
He had been working for 14 hours. His legs were tired, his hands ached, and somewhere on the dark road between his shop and his home, he missed a step. He fell. Not dramatically, not with a shout, just quietly, the way exhausted people fall when there is nobody watching. He lay on the cold stone road and tried to get up. His leg would not cooperate. Something was wrong. He did not know how wrong yet. He looked around. The street was empty. The night was cold. And every lantern he could see was in someone else's window. He had spent 40 years making sure nobody was ever alone in the dark.
And here he was, alone in the dark, unable to move. He was there for what felt like a very long time. And then he saw it. A light coming toward him from the far end of the street. Not a street lamp, not a torch, a lantern. A specific lantern with a particular quality of warmth that he recognized immediately, even after 7 years, because he had made it. The woman carrying it knelt beside him on the cold road. She put the lantern down beside his face so he could see. He looked at her, and she looked at him. She said, "I know you. You made this lantern for me 7 years ago, the night after I buried my husband." Ezra looked at the lantern. His lantern, burning beside him on the dark road he had walked alone for 40 years. He said nothing. She said, "That lantern saved my life 3 times. I carry it everywhere I go because I am terrified of what the dark does to me without it." And then she said the thing that broke him completely open. Who gives light to the light maker?
Ezra did not answer her that night. She helped him home. She made sure he was safe. She left the lantern with him and said she would collect it another time. He never asked her to return it, and she never came back for it. In the weeks that followed, as his leg healed and he returned to his workbench, something had changed in Ezra. He began making a new lantern. Not for a customer, not for a commission, not for anyone who had asked. He made it slowly, more carefully than he had made anything in 40 years. He chose the warmest glass he had, the steadiest flame, the most enduring oil. And when it was finished, he hung it in his own window. It was the first light that had ever burned in his home. Here is what this story holds for us today. There is a kind of person in this world who instinctively gives their light to everyone around them. The friend who is always available. The parent who is always present. The colleague who always has time. The person everyone calls when the darkness gets too heavy. And this person, this generous, extraordinary person, almost never turns the light toward themselves. Not because they do not need it, but because somewhere along the way they decided that their darkness did not count, that their needs were smaller, that the light they carried was meant for everyone except the person carrying it. Here is the truth that Ezra learned on that cold road on a Tuesday night. You cannot give light from an empty flame. The people you light the way for, they need you to still be standing. They need you to be okay. They need you to have something left.
Calla did not save a stranger that night. She saved the man whose light had saved her. The circle completed itself, but only because Ezra had made one lantern well enough 7 years ago that it was still burning. Your light matters, not just to the people you give it to, it matters to you. Hang one lantern in your own window tonight. Thank you for being here today. If this story found you at the right moment, share it with someone who gives light to everyone and forgets to save any for themselves. Leave a comment below with one word. I read every single one. Subscribe to Tale Studio Stories for a new wisdom tale every week. Stories that slow you down and remind you that your light belongs to you too. Until next time, hang a lantern in your own window.